Hello, everybody, and welcome to Blue Jays Today. We're your boys. We always got something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog. And in this one, folks, we have got to give our reaction. We've got to give our breakdown at what we just watched. Toronto Blue Jays lose Game 1 of the Wildcard Series against the Minnesota Twins 3-1. A game where obviously everybody, we were looking for them to walk away with a W, to really end that entire narrative of, oh, this core isn't winning in the postseason. That doesn't happen, folks. You lose Game 1, and it just makes Game 2 that much more critical. Before we get into it, please make sure to like, subscribe, comment your thoughts down below. All right, first things first. You tried out Kevin Gosman onto the mound. He has been poor against the Minnesota Twins. This is something that we learned not only before the game, but also more during the game, that his entire tenure effectively pitching against the Minnesota Twins. It has been rough. They were posing the question there in the post-game of the Blue Jays game. I think we're both aligned on this, but I just want to hear you say it. Do you think it was the right decision to pitch Kevin Gosman? And then also, do you think it was the right decision to pull Kevin Gosman when they pulled him? And if you guys don't know, he gave up 3 earned runs. I think he pitched 4 innings. He gave up a lot of walks.
Yeah.
You know, what are your thoughts on Kevin Gosman's performance as a whole?
Look, you're going to always go to your ace. You're going to hope that he, performs well against another team in the playoffs. Yes, against the Minnesota Twins, they don't chase his splitter at all. They're one of the best teams at not chasing a splitter. What happens when you don't chase a splitter? Well, now he's got to start to overthink a little bit. You've seen a lot of his command issues. He's missing with the splitter. He's trying to be cute with the fastball, right? He can't really come into the zone because when he gets a lot of swing and misses, he can live outside the edges and he can have a lot of success out there. But Kevin Gosman wasn't able to do that. And I think there was also, in that start, he didn't have a lot of command in that we've seen from Kevin Gosman in the past, but he wasn't able to get away with it because they don't chase the good splitter. Do I think that the start was a good decision or a bad decision? You're always going to start your ace, right? If we had to pitch him in game 162 to get a playoff spot, then maybe you could have seen that was a devil in disguise. Maybe we don't have to pitch Kevin Gosman. But here's the thing. You're always going to want to line up Kevin Gosman. You're always going to want to push him back to play in that game, regardless of the previous history, because he does get you strikeouts, and he is your number one pitcher to get you innings.
Yeah, I'm going to put a nip in the bud into anybody on Twitter, or anybody who comments, or just anyone who's talking about not pitching Kevin Gosman. That really does seem to me just like somebody that, really doesn't fully understand the where we're at as a team, where the Toronto Blue Jays are at as a team. This is obviously going to be your guy always, and I would do it again, right? Even though he struggled and it just didn't go according to plan. Was pulling him at the time the right decision?
I agree. Yeah, 4 innings. Guys gone after that. You hand over to the bullpen, who was literally shutout. Hindsight, you got 5 scoreless shutout innings from your bullpen. That's been the Blue Jays' kind of secret weapon all season, bringing in that bullpen. And in the postseason, you're going to see guys get hooked after 4 innings. And when he didn't have it, they weren't chasing. That's the right decision to make. But for me, the big thing in this game is when you bring in that bullpen to shut them down 5 innings, where is the offense to come in and score runs? They had multiple chances all game to score runs, and they didn't. They had players who were coming in with runners in scoring position, and they were expanding. It didn't seem like we were getting timely hitting as well from the top of the order. You had George Springer going 0-4. You had Brandon Belt going 0-4. Yeah, you had Vladdy. He got a hit. Bo Bichette with 2 hits, but we didn't have the timely hitting like the Minnesota Twins, and that was the difference maker for me in this game.
What we saw in this game, and I think this is why it's so frustrating to Toronto Blue Jays fans, and if you watched our live stream, you understand we were obviously very frustrated at the end. That we're recording this legitimately 10 minutes after the fact, so we're really trying to get ourselves together and give you a concrete analysis. But it just sucks to see the same mistakes that we've watched all season long rear their ugly heads in, right? Your pitching pitches you a good enough game to win. Even though your starter, he wasn't incredibly elite, well, your bullpen picks him up.
3 runs.
Yeah,
That's
bullpen
all we gave up.
Picks him up, and you pitch a bunch of guys. And I will give credit to John Schneider here. I think that the pull was proper. I think that a lot of the bullpen decisions were right. We were playing the analytics, but it worked out, right?
Even pinch hitting on Merrifield as well for Varsho for a lefty matchup or whatever.
Even though that necessarily didn't result in something, I see what he was doing, and he was really pulling it on the stops there. So credit where credit is due. I felt like John Schneider, he was at least managing a good enough name to give his guys an opportunity to win. And it just sucks to see the same mistakes over and over again, right? Where Kevin Gosman comes out, he doesn't get a W. The bullpen comes out, gives you 5 innings of scoreless ball, right? Where you can come back in this game against this team. You can do something. And the offense, with multiple opportunities, where their infield was making errors, where their infield was making mistakes, where we were taking walks, where we got a leadoff double, right? Multiple opportunities where we could have scored runs and at least tied the game up or got ourselves back into a position. They just couldn't come up in key situations, and that has always been the story of the 2023 Toronto Blue Jays.
And I will say one thing to kind of like compliment the Blue Jays today, the offense. There was a lot of opportunities where we just came up inches close. You think about that Matt Chapman home run to center field. That ball he hit was farther than Royce Lewis with his home run. And we just came up short. You saw another hit in deep right field caught by Kirilloff that could have been off the wall. That could have been extra bases. A lot of opportunities missed. A diving play as well in the early goings in the outfield. A lot of opportunities were just inches short, but you need other guys to come through with gooder and better approaches to have an opportunity to do that again. We just didn't see that, and that's what happens, man. This has been the story, and there really isn't much to say. You know, what do you say? Who do you point the finger to blame? Who would you point the finger to blame for this kind of loss tonight?
For me, it's not a one person. It really isn't a one person, because it is a mixture of errors, and that's something that you're gonna see on Twitter, everybody. You're probably gonna see it in our comments too. You're gonna see some fire Schneiders. You're gonna see some Kirk's crap. You're gonna see some Bo Bichette was terrible. You're gonna see some George Springer is bad. You're gonna see all that, and I think that the truth, the really truth of it, is that all of that is kind of true, but it's all put together. It's a mixture of all of it, right? There were bad moments from everyone today, except the bullpen. That's the one area where I can really say they were great. But there were bad moments from everyone. And on the Twins side of things, they just played a better game. Lopez was better. He was better than Gosman. They're hitting, even though they didn't have as many hits as us. They hit for more power, and like you've been saying, like we've both been saying, I think everybody has been saying, they hit when it really counted. So their hits just were that much more valuable. Yeah,
you got to give this entire game over to this man right here. Royce Lewis coming off the IL with a 2-homer, 3 RBI performance. He was the entire offense. He's not in this game. Blue Jays might scrape away with a 1-0 victory. It's timely hitting. What's the one timely hit we got? It was Kevin Kiermaier. Shout out to him. He actually put up the best Blue Jay performance other than Bo Bichette too. He was 2 for 4.
Yeah.
But he had the best timely hit. And then Royce Lewis was basically the entire offense. But you got to also give credit. Like you said, Lopez dominant. Their bullpen was dominant. Man, Duran? Are you kidding me? That guy made us look like a joke in that last inning. Yeah, I gave up a walk, but he just dominated. So if I were to point fingers really at anybody in this game, yeah, sure. Collection of the Blue Jays offense. We scored 1 run. Absolutely, you can point. There's been a lot of mistakes with your approaches, but you can also point fingers and say they outpitched us.
Yeah.
They just outplayed us. They out-timely hit us. And that's why it's so crazy when you look at this kind of wild card series that baseball can be boiled down in the postseason to sometimes 3-game series because baseball is so much bigger than that. We can come out tomorrow and we can dominate. We could put up 8 runs with a shutout inning performance from Berrios, and we could be going on to game 3.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow, guys.
100%, dude. And I at the end of the day, tomorrow, and we are going to really dive deep into that, we need to score more than 1 run. Because, today, when you look at the final score, you say, 3-1, it was pretty close. But I think a lot of the time, Blue Jays fans, us included, were watching this game, and that 3-run lead that they had for majority of the game, they had 3-run lead for a lot of the time, or at least a 2-0 lead, it felt like a mountain. It felt like it was Mount Everest in front of this team, and you saw some people expanding, and you saw some people, pushing and trying some things. And where the Minnesota Twins were coming up just that much more clutch, The Toronto Blue Jays just weren't. And I want to segue that into what's going to be a big talking point. We saw them talking about it right there. I know that we're not 100% aligned on this, but the Bo Bichette.
Time for a quick shout out to Betway. Betway is the best place to make all of your sports bets on all of your favorite teams. Betway is also in collaboration with iGaming Ontario. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
But the Bo Bichette run, effectively, there was a hit made there that was bobbled by the third baseman.
Whipped past him.
Bo Bichette, he was at second base. He ran through what was a stop sign by Rivera, and he was thrown at home plate. And Correa, and I think we can both agree on this, Correa made one hell of a play.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did, man. And you know what? I understand the decision by Bo Bichette to go through the stop sign. You're not expecting Correa to go over off balance throw, make a dart throw to home plate when you're down by 3 runs, or it was 2 runs at the time. It might have been 2. We were down at the time. You needed to make a play. He tried. It failed. I would agree with Joe Siddle and other analysts on Sportsnet right now saying like that was a good decision to make because most time you're gonna make that play. Correa, he outperformed. It goes down to what we were saying. They just outperformed us in every single facet of the game.
Right.
And we gambled. It was the one gamble we took. Sometimes you roll the dice and you don't get it. And so I get the decision. I'm not butthurt about it. And again, in the day, that still wouldn't have won us the game. It got us within 1. Yeah. But you know what I mean? I don't disagree with the decision.
As far as I'm concerned, and as far as everything's that concerned, and I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below. I don't think that. I mean, I think we can both agree that wouldn't have won us the game regardless. You know, so it's like we can pinpoint this moment. And again, that was just one of the mistakes or one of the things that didn't work out in our favor. Right. That like this was something that yes, we could have done it differently. We would have done it differently. I think, in my opinion, in a playoff game, you listen to your coach. You don't run through the stop sign because he did get a stop sign. If you didn't see it, then that's a whole other thing. But at the end of the day, why didn't you see it? That's where I'm coming from. I think Rivera had an entire, scenario of the entire play, where Correa was, how he made the play. Yes, it was an incredible play. At the end of the day, like potentially, maybe you do that again, and Correa throws it off, or the catcher doesn't do it.
Right.
I listened to the third base coach in that regard. I think he should have. Hindsight's 2020. Yeah. At the end of the day, though, still won this game, and just one of the building blocks that led us to where we inevitably were, which was a 3-1 loss.
And at the end of the day, too, like, yeah, he pulls up the stop sign. Well, you still haven't scored a run yet. You got Matt Chapman up with 2 out, right? So, yeah, it does provide you another opportunity to score a run, but we all know Matt Chapman, what he does with runner scoring position. It's been one of the worst on the Blue Jays this season. Obviously, you're not thinking about that in the moment, but, again, thinking about what could have possibly happened.
It is a woulda, shoulda, coulda moment. You guys let us know in the comments down below what you think about that entire scenario. With all of that being said, poor performance from today's game. There's still more baseball to be played.
We got to move the hell on, guys. Get out of depression land.
Exactly. All of this needs to be thrown in the garbage can. John Schneider was in the post game and he was saying everyone is available. Every bullet except for Kevin Gosman could and probably will be fired tomorrow if needed. And this is going to require a team performance if the Toronto Blue Jays want to win this game. They're going to be up against Sonny Gray, who on the season has been better than Pablo Lopez. And we were incapable of getting to Pablo Lopez, but he's been better than Pablo Lopez. And the Blue Jays are going to be trotting out Jose Barrios, which could be a good thing because he probably knows these Minnesota Twins hitters better than most people, but also could be a bad thing because these hitters probably know him better than anybody as well, right? So what are your keys to victory in this game? What are your predictions? What do you think the Blue Jays need to do differently?
It's very simple. I mean, I got 2 keys to victory. Number 1, you got to hit timely hitting, man. You got to hit when guys are in runners in scoring position. But the number 2 to complement that is that you got to be ready to swing first pitch. We saw a lot of moments today where the game plan against these Blue Jays were, hey, as of late, we have been taking a lot of pitches. We've been taking a lot of pitches on the edges, taking a lot of pitches for first pitch strikes, and while that's a good place to base yourself off of, but once they pick that up, then they can get ahead. And guess what happens when they get ahead? Then they have the advantage. So I got to be ready as the Blue Jays to come out swinging tomorrow at good pitches. That doesn't mean coming out swinging at the sliders. You still got to have a good eyeball. Come out ready to hit. Screw working them. Get ready to hit. Get ready to slug. Be aggressive at the dish. That's what I gotta see from the Blue Jays. I think Barrios is gonna be good enough to dominate his former team. That I'm not worried. I'm never gonna be worried about the pitching or the bullpen.
Right.
We have to dominate on hitting by getting it to that first pitch. That's my key.
Yeah, and I mean, it's gonna, I feel like a broken record, but it really is. Offense needs to support the rest of the team. You know that you're gonna have the defense. The defense on our end was better than the Minnesota Twins today, right? Good. The pitching from the bullpen side of things was better than the Minnesota Twins. Our starter did give up a few runs. I don't expect that to continue tomorrow. I do think that Jose Barrios is probably the right decision for Game 2, just based on the way that they've been running this rotation the entire season. He is a good pitcher. He can do this. The Blue Jays offense have to come ready to play. And if they lose tomorrow, and if they lose in a similar fashion, then this entire story, this entire season, this entire narrative, right, of what the 2023 Toronto Blue Jays are, it's going to be an incredible pitching squad that's just incapable of hitting, and it's just such a 180.
It's a literal 180.
From what we have been in the past, right? Where is this number one Blue Jays offense that we knew? You have to show up tomorrow if you want this season to continue.
I agree, guys. Guys, let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about this Game 1? And what are your predictions for Game 2? I know there's going to be a lot of depressed fans out there, but you got to stay positive. That's why we got 3 games to work for. Let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah, we're going to be live tomorrow, folks. So hit the like button, smash the subscribe button. Make sure that you were tuning in at 4:30 when we go live to watch Game 2. Could be the last game of the year. Fingers crossed that it's not, folks. Also, $3 a month become a Patreon member. Shout out and thank you to every single one of our current Patreon members. You guys are freaking amazing. And shout out to our YouTube members as well. You guys are also so appreciated.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
And go Jays, go!